the fans are wasting their time regarding the Glazers, because you won't shift them. But you can certainly make your feelings known about someone like Pogba, who is visibly, before our very eyes, underachieving on a regular basis at club level.
I've got no problem with the booze. I've got no problem with the booze. You take the good and the bad as a footballer, especially a top footballer. He should be able to cope with that, and it should be motivation for him. I'm simply saying that if you put Paul Pogba in an environment where there's a good mentality and a leader of quality, which we've seen when he was at Juve and when he played for France, he'll thrive. If he was at Man City or at Liverpool, you would see all his qualities. And and Klopp and Guardiola wouldn't put up with him not tracking runners and closing people down.
So what? He's no use in adversity.
But you say that, but Mourinho wouldn't put up with it either, and he got done in the battle with Pogba. He got done in the court of public opinion. He got done for taking this player to task and having a problem with him. And in a court of public opinion, Mourinho came out second. So whether we say Klopp and Guardiola, there's certain people you just can't turn round. And maybe Man United's whole buying policy, which we discussed off air, is the problem. Maybe they should never have bought Pogba.
Maybe not.
If they weren't at a stage where they could afford the luxury of letting Pogba do what he wants when he wants and manage him in a certain way because the rest of the team is good enough.
What we're talking about, does he have the quality to do more in terms of his physical output, especially off the ball? Yes, because we've seen it, so he can do it. Why isn't he doing it? He's got to take some responsibility himself. Yes, of course.
Because he's a slob.
He's not a self-starter. He's a grown-up. He's a big boy. He's got to do it himself.
He's a slob.
You've got to look in the mirror.
If you don't have your own
lazy,
standards,
you mean?
Yeah, if you don't have your... I mean, come on. The top players are self-starters and are self-motivators, and they have an inherent pride.
I'm not saying he's the best in the world.
He thinks he is.
He may do, but I'm not saying
But he doesn't prove it for his club, and he plays for a very good French side at times.
His price tag would suggest it is.
He plays for a very good French side at that particular tournament when it won the World Cup, which he wasn't the best player in by a country mile. He was part of a very cohesive and good unit that made up for some of the things he didn't do. Juventus was the same. So here he comes, Billy Big whatevers, into United with all that goes around him. And I'm tired of players that go into clubs like this that don't do what they should do. But the fact of the matter is he's been appalling for Manchester United over the 5 seasons that he's been there. Complete and utter waste of time.
To what?
And he's embodied the spirit of why United have declined. This feeling of players are more important than the club. This feeling of lack of cohesion. The whole aspect of United is undermined by the group of players that are in there that won't start themselves. If nothing else, Ronaldo's talked about it. I've come into a club when I was a kid and I used to listen to the senior players. The young players don't want to listen to... I mean, Ronaldo talked about it earlier on in the season.
No, I agree.
The attitude in this club is awful right now. And Pogba is the embodiment of it. Coming off the pitch, wryly smiling.
Look, if we're talking about this season, there's been some... It's been poor from him, there's no doubt. But if you go back and look at his games and his productivity in terms of assists, in terms of creativity, which is what he is, a creative player, he's not a defensive player. His numbers are all right.
Danny, he's flopped. He's been a massive flop.
Then his numbers are all right compared to a lot of other midfielders in the Premier League, right? So what are we comparing him to? Are we comparing him to what he did for France? Are we comparing him to other midfielders? If you put Kevin De Bruyne at Manchester United this season, would we be eulogising about Kevin De Bruyne? Do you think Kevin De Bruyne would be...
We'll never know.
Would he change?
But the fact of the matter is, the current Pogba that we're seeing is a disaster.
We've seen 5 years of it now. And it's not a case of the frustration level, and I'm not a Man United fan. I watch it and think, what a waste of time. How do you nick a living? You're such a good player, but you don't turn it on when you're supposed to at moments of adversity. When the team's on top and when there's an opportunity, great. But you judge people in adversity. Now, if I put Kevin De Bruyne in that side...
He'd do better, yeah.
He would do better because he'd have some pride in himself.
But that's because he's had a better education. So we're talking about De Bruyne now more mature. So let's go back a few more years is what I'm saying. It's a bad comparison.
He's the same age as Pogba.
Yeah, but if you take them back... So when Pogba first came, he had more hunger, desire, and his physicality wasn't as in question. He was putting it in more. You saw that. So he has got worse while the club has got worse. So what you're asking him to do is stay high on his qualities and his...
He's played a major part of the demise on the field.
You think you want to put it all at Pogba's door is what you're saying?
He's played a major part in it.
He's been part of it.
Yes.
There's been so many more players.
Well, let's hear from those. I mean, were you at the game on Saturday, and post-match, did you boo Paul Pogba? If you want, I know it sounds trivial, but give us a call on it. 03717 223344.
This is not Maguire, I suppose.
If so, why did you do it? Are you fed up with Pogba? Is it time up for Pogba?
It is time up.
Part
There's no
of the
doubt,
demise of Manchester United. Just on United. United, as we head to the break, we've heard news this morning, and we wish him well, that Bruno Fernandes reportedly involved in a car crash this morning. It sounds like all parties involved in this incident avoided serious injury. The United player was set to train today, so that's the latest coming out of that one. We wish Bruno well.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.